Welcome back to our Bonding and Molecular Structure unit. We are on day 7 of C.3.4. Today we are learning hydrate nomenclature. Hydrates are compounds that include water molecules as part of their crystal structure. Hydrate has nomenclature rules. We first name the anhydrous compound. Anhydrous means without water. Then we add number prefix, hydrate, to indicate the number of water molecules associated with the compound. As you used in covalent nomenclature, we use mono to deca. Mono for 1, deca to 10. Remember, mono is 1, di is 2, tri is 3, tetra is 4, penta is 5, hexa is 6, hepta is 7, octa is 8, nona is 9, and deca is 10. Here are some hydrate examples. Notice that in the chemical formula we have a multiplication sign as a dot in between each of the water molecules associated and the anhydrous compound. So we see nickel, we see chlorine, we see water, and we see a bunch of numbers. Well, what does all this mean? Well, you know, if it's times anything H2O, H2O is water, right? So that means that it's going to be a hydrate compound. We're going to be naming it as a hydrate if it has a times something water, okay? So this is nickel 2 chloride. Oftentimes, you'll notice that there's a lot of Roman numerals used here, so in many cases, we are going to be using transition metals, so you're going to have to know your stock convention pretty well, or your bit metal nomenclature. You're going to need to go back and review that probably, but don't worry, we're going to be filling out the notes together. And looking at hydrate names today as a class. So we have nickel 2 chloride, hexa hydrate. So here we have our hexa for 6. We have copper 2 sulfate, pentahydrate. So penta for the 5. Remember that the reason that this is copper 2, okay, is because the sulfate ion comes with a -2 charge. If you go back and look at your polyatomic ion worksheets, you'll notice that the sulfate comes with a -2 charge. Thereby, the copper must necessarily balance to be neutral. That means that it has to be 2, okay? Because we take that 2 superscript and we bring it down to the bottom. So we have copper 2 sulfate, pentahydrate for the 5, okay? Now we have calcium chloride, okay? Calcium is not a transition metal. It does not get a Roman numeral, okay? Calcium chloride. We don't use mono before the first word. Calcium chloride. It is also an ionic compound, right? So we're not using di, okay? Not for this part, not for the anhydrous compound. We will, however, say dihydrate. You always name the numbers. You always name the numbers to mono to deca or whatever it is. Whatever kind of hydrate is associated, you always use that prefix, okay? Calcium chloride dihydrate. Now we have magnesium sulfate. Magnesium sulfate heptahydrate. Hepta is for 7. We have iron 2 acetate. See the subscript 2 here? Remember our parenthesis rule. We don't want to say 22 oxygen, so it's necessary that we put our parenthesis here. Iron 2 acetate. Tetra for 4 hydrate. Now we have iridium. That's fun to say. Iridium 3 bromide. Iridium is a transitional metal, so we will be using, again, just as iron's a transitional metal, we'll be using our Roman numerals for our notation. Iron 3 bromide. Tetra as in 4 hydrate. Again, guys, you're going to continue to have access to your notes. All of our exams are written, so you don't have to memorize this, but you do need to know how to reference it and how to understand it. You need to know how to interpret this information on your guided notes, okay? Now I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to do a combination of naming and formulating of these hydrate compounds. Thank you guys, you did a great job today. We're going to move on for our nomenclature review day. This is going to include all kinds of compounds. The first portion of your worksheet, we're going to be doing naming. The second portion of your worksheet, we're going to be writing formulas. I'm going to pause the video here. Thanks guys, you did a great job. Now let's go ahead and move on to writing formulas. I'm going to ask some people to come to the board. Thanks guys, you did a great job. Okay, awesome job class. You are young geniuses. You have done a fantastic job working on your nomenclature, which is basically Chemistry Grammar 101.